When you first arrive in the Netherlands, there's something you might notice as you walk down the quiet streets in the evening. The houses are lit up, the interiors are visible from the sidewalk, and in many cases, there are no curtains. Or, if there are, they're pulled wide open. For visitors from other countries, this can be surprising, even a little shocking. In many cultures, drawing the curtains at night is almost instinctive, a way to protect your privacy. But here, it can feel like the living room is part of the public view. This has led to one of the more famous questions foreigners ask about Dutch culture: is it really true that Dutch people don't use curtains? And if so, why? The answer is both yes and no. But to understand it, we need to look at history, religion, architecture, and even a bit of psychology. The tradition of open windows goes back centuries, all the way to the Dutch Golden Age in the 17th century. At the time, Calvinism was a dominant religious influence in Dutch society. Calvinist values emphasized modesty, honesty, and hard work. The idea was that you lived a good life and had nothing to hide from your neighbors. One way to demonstrate this was through your home. If your windows were open and your living room was tidy and respectable, you were showing the world that you were an upstanding member of the community. Closing your curtains might have raised suspicion. What could you possibly be hiding in there? It wasn't just religion. Dutch cities were, and still are, built in a way that makes privacy a bit of a luxury. In places like Amsterdam, Utrecht, and Haarlem, houses line narrow streets or canals, with the front rooms just a meter or two from the sidewalk. The windows are big, and they face directly onto public spaces. That's just the way the architecture developed. And in a society where openness was valued, people didn't see this as a problem. In fact, they embraced it. Some historians suggest that in the past, it was almost like a performance. People took care to keep their front rooms neat, decorated with flowers or porcelain, maybe a few family heirlooms. Passers-by could admire the scene, and the family inside could take quiet pride in presenting a proper home. Privacy was less about blocking the view and more about trusting that neighbors wouldn't overstep the unspoken social boundaries. Today, things have changed, but the habit hasn't disappeared. In modern Dutch cities, you'll still see many windows left bare or curtains left open, especially in older neighborhoods. But the reasons are different now. For some people, it's still a sign of openness and honesty. For others, it's about light. Winters in the Netherlands can be long and dark, and every bit of daylight is precious. Why block it with heavy curtains? Open windows make rooms feel brighter, more spacious, and more connected to the outside world. And there's another reason: safety. The Netherlands is generally a safe country, and many people feel comfortable without adding an extra layer of separation between themselves and the street. Of course, there are exceptions. In busier or more urban areas, blinds and curtains are becoming more common. Newer apartments often come with modern window coverings, and younger generations may be more inclined to value privacy. For foreigners, the experience of walking through a Dutch neighborhood at night can be almost like watching a living gallery. You see glimpses of families eating dinner, friends chatting over coffee, or someone curled up with a book. Some expats admit they find it fascinating, others feel a bit awkward, as though they're intruding. There's even a running joke among expats that in the Netherlands, you don't need a TV, you just look out the window at your neighbors. But here's the interesting thing: while Dutch people might not mind being seen, there's still a strong cultural norm against commenting on what you see. Looking is fine, but gossiping about it would be considered rude. As part of the Dutch respect for personal boundaries, an open window doesn't mean an open invitation into someone else's private life. Of course, not all Dutch people live without curtains. In smaller towns and rural areas, lace curtains are still popular. They allow light in while slightly obscuring the view from outside. And plenty of people, especially in cities, have blinds or drapes for practical reasons: to block sunlight in summer, keep warmth in during winter, or simply for style. Still, the open curtain image remains a strong part of the Dutch cultural stereotype because it has rooted in something real. It reflects a society that values transparency, straightforwardness, and a certain level of trust in the community. It is also a habit that ties modern Dutch life to its historical past, one of those small cultural details that outsiders notice immediately and locals may not even think about. So, is it true that the Dutch don't use curtains? The answer is, often, yes, but not always. It's a tradition with deep roots, shaped by religion, architecture, and a cultural preference for openness. And while times are changing, it's likely that for years to come, you'll still find streets where the windows are open. The rooms are bright. And you can catch a little glimpse of life inside. If you ever visit the Netherlands, take a walk in the evening through a residential street and see for yourself. Just remember, it's okay to look, but maybe not to stare.